And this new version of the game is going to be a deluxe edition of the game, but it's also going to be including a brand new expansion. But if you're not familiar with this game, this is a polyomino tile placement type game where each player is going to be building their own planet, trying to install different tiles in order to try and fill up the planet as much as possible. Each of the tiles that you're going to be adding will have different icons on them, which are going to allow you to move up various tracks on your board, which will unlock different bonuses and help score you victory points for the end of the game. Each player is also going to have their own rover that they're going to be moving around on the board for different purposes. And then each of the players' trackboard is actually going to be unique because it's going to be representing their specific corporation. This means that they can all work a little bit differently. There can be different bonuses for the different tracks. The tracks can actually look very different from each other, and they each come with their own unlockable special abilities. And like I said, players will be gaining victory points for moving up these different tracks, but you're also gaining victory points for filling up the different rows and columns of your planet completely. And then you're also going to be gaining victory points for completing different objectives. An interesting thing about the way the objectives work in this game is that at the start of the game, you're just going to be drawing those randomly and then putting them between each of the adjacent players. This means that each player is going to be competing for that objective with the player beside them. And in this game, you're going to be getting most of your polyominoes from this tray in the center of the table, and this tray actually rotates around just like a Lazy Susan, and players are going to be taking turns as the lead player, rotating that into whatever position that they want, because at the start of the game, each player is associated with a specific side of that Lazy Susan, and as the lead player, you get to choose whichever side you want to rotate towards yourself, and then every player is going to be able to choose one of the two tiles that are facing their side. Each player's first tile has to be placed on the edge of their planet, but then any tile that you place after that only has to be connected to an existing tile. These tiles can have all sorts of different terrain and different icons, which, like I said, will be moving you up the various tracks, which I also said can grant you all sorts of bonuses. These can come in the form of bonus points, different abilities, civilization cards, which will work as set collection, or even special actions that you'll be able to perform later in the game, or they can also get you some extra tiles. But whenever you put out a tile, there's also a chance that it could have a meteorite icon on it. And whenever you see that, you're going to be putting the meteorite token onto that tile. And then that meteorite's actually going to be blocking scoring for both the column and row of wherever that meteorite is placed. But luckily, players will be able to acquire rovers throughout the game, and each time that you're able to get a rover icon, that's going to allow you to move that rover to adjacent spaces, and you'll be able to upgrade the amount of distance that you'll be able to move, and you can actually use that rover to pick up those meteorites and take them off your board, and even potentially use them for other actions. That's not the only use for your rover, because there's also some other opportunities and ways to score points with other items that you can pick up on the planet. The game continues like this until a player no longer has a space on their board where they're able to put one of the available tiles. And then as soon as that happens, that's going to trigger the end of the game, and then all the players are going to be adding up their victory points, and the player with the most victory points wins the game. The new expansion is going to be introducing a brand new board so that each of the players can also build out their supermoon alongside with their planet. And of course, that's going to come with some different effects, but players will be able to choose whether they want to put their polyominoes on either of their boards, giving them a little bit more flexibility and a bit more options when it comes to what they're trying to achieve. Looks like a ton of fun, and I think you can have a lot of confidence back in this one if you are interested in it, since it is a reprint and the game's already out there with people playing it and enjoying it. And I've only heard a ton of positive feedback on this game, so if you want to check it out, or if you do want to learn more, I do have links in the description below.